let's say that I'm working with a team of web developers that have worked extensively on this e-commerce site, and they want to know what the average page load time is. So we have a couple columns to help us with that. So the first is, and I'm using Control F in my browser to help me because there's lots and lots and lots of columns. So what I did, if you search and hit Control F, and I think that function works for most, if not all, browsers. If you Control F and hit hits dot page dot, there's a record, hits dot page, and in that record we have the page title. Now this seems to be the place where we find the title of the actual page. So if it's a certain product page that you're on, it'll give the name of that. If you're on the About Me page, it'll say About Me in this. So that's what that hits dot page is. So we want to see the average page load time per page, and we need this. Okay. The other one we want to look at is hits dot latency tracking and dot page load time. That's the value that we want right there. So we could take this a step further by doing an aggregate calculation and getting the average of each page load time for each page instead of having repeating values. Okay. If you choose, you could just make it a simple SQL statement and just get these two columns, and you won't have to do anything further in this query. But you could go ahead and do the aggregate function in Tableau or Power BI or any other data analysis tool that you want. But if you understand SQL, you can do this a lot, quickly and easily in Google BigQuery using SQL. So we're going to go ahead and compose a query, and I'm going to make sure show options to uncheck use legacy SQL, and we're going to get started. So I'm going to hit select, and then I'm going to select the columns that I want. In this case it's two. Hits dot page title. Okay. Hit a comma, enter. We're going to get hits dot latency tracking dot page load time. Okay. We're going to select from. Where we want it from. Want it from analytics. And we're going to get rid of this date, actually put that wildcard in there again because we want to filter it by date. Okay. And let's hit where table suffix between let's say I just want to get this data for 3 months. So 16, 08, and 11. Okay. Oh, excuse me, that's not right at all. 11. Why did that hit a 5? My bad. 2016, 11, 01. Make sure to close that with a single quote. Okay. Let's see what this does. Now, if I go over here, you'll notice it's not a green check mark. Let's see why. It says, cannot access field page on a value with type array, structure, hit number. Okay. So it looks like it's highlighting hits.page title. Let's see what that means. So remember in the table details, you'll see that there's tons of columns here, and they seem to be split up into records. So you have the totals record, and it's .visits, .hits, .page views. So what we have to do, what we have to add to this is, in order for it to work, is what's called an unnest statement. Okay, so let's hit a comma after the from, where you selected it from, hit enter, and then hit unnest. what we're going to do is in parentheses unnest the record hits, and we'll just give it a name. We'll call it hits. You can call it H if you want. Hits. I'm just going to do hits. Okay. And yeah, that looks like it'll run it okay. So let's go ahead and run that, see what that looks like. Okay, looks like we have repeating values. What if I just want to get the average and I want to group it in descending order? So this is where the aggregate function comes in. So what we actually want to do is get the average page load time. So what we're going to do here is add a little more to it. We're going to do AVG, kind of like you do with Excel, hit parentheses, close parentheses, and then let's rename the title of this column. So say as. You can also do capital letters, kind of helps you see. And then I'm just going to call it page load time. Okay, so the error went away over here. It says we can't really aggregate this, and then this guy came up. We're going to get to this in 1 second. Okay, so just get to this point where you do the aggregate function average. This calculates the average load time, and we're renaming the column. Well, actually, we're technically really not. It's just going to be called page load time. You can call this PLT. Actually, I'll call this PLT just to show you what I'm doing. Okay, and then let's add a couple more things. Because this is an aggregate function, it's expecting us to group these page titles together. Okay, so what we need to do is add a group by, and we won't need to group by that column. Let me expand this. Hits.page title. Okay, now the error went away. It looks like it did that okay. So let's take a look at that. What that's going to look like. Okay. Alright, looks like we got a bunch of null values, but it looks like we're getting what we want because we're not seeing any repeat values. Now it's hard to tell, of course, because there's 844 values. So maybe what that's telling us is that there's 844 pages. So I actually want to get the ones with values in it. So I'm going to go ahead and do an order by, and PLT. Remember, that's the name that we called the column again. And you'll notice also when we ran that query with this statement in here, it takes the average, but we just renamed it as PLT. So you can, when you're calling different columns, you can rename the titles of the columns if you say as, and then the name of what the new name of the column that you want to put. Okay, so in this case we want to do order it by the PLT column or the page load time column, and we're going to do it descending this time. Let's go ahead and run that query. Cool. Okay, it looks like it got that average for us just fine. Okay, so this shows the pages that load the longest, and it looks like this is in seconds. So of course that's going to be something that you'll want to do another function for. Now you can of course figure out how to do that here in SQL, and you absolutely can. It probably won't take that long either, but I'm not going to do that in this video because I just wanted to show you the basics of an aggregate function and the common things that go with an aggregate function, in this case a group by. Okay, and we had ordered it descending, so it shows the pages with the longest time. So if I was just in front of my web developers and they just wanted to see a quick snapshot of the pages that took the longest to load, then I could just do this and be done with it. Okay, if you wanted to go and convert it into minutes or things like that, you can of course do further aggregations. I'm going to save this as a table. I'm going to call this average page load time. Yeah.